back on this old girl now. So we've just spun around. The front end is now in the garage. I better turn the music down. How many seconds are you allowed? Right. Yeah, so spun it around, stuck it in the garage here, and we're going to get cracking on the engine bay. I think last update was to put that lip in there. And now I'm going to finish off this inner wing patch. So I have just clamped it into place and scribed this lower line here. And I'm going to take that out and cut that line so that matches in. That line already matches in. We're happy with this fit along here. Maybe just when we weld it, it's just put a little bit of pressure on there. Just take the flex out of it, and this has got to be done here. So what I'm going to do is, I've already marked it, so I'll take the panel out, cut that, then put the panel back and see how that changes the fit, because I don't want to mark this and mark that and do all the cutting and then put it all back in and find out it's too damn small. So step by step, and when that's done and refitted, I will mark this edge around here, because that is going to be a butt joint in there. Butt joint, butt welded. And this one is a slight lap. So just taking it into the wheel arch here. There's no point cutting it and butting it or doing a butt joint. I'll just lap that in there. So I was doing a time lapse. The battery said that's enough. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure how much we're really getting from it. So I'll revert. There's no point doing it live, and I'm in and out of the engine bay as well. So anyway, I'll just update, and I've stitched it in, just tack welded all the way up around to there. And I'm just going to continue that now. Just literally just little tacks. You can see a little blowhole there. Which isn't really a little hole, but I'll weld that up. So just continue, because that line is all wiggly wobbly, obviously following the contour of the stamping, the inner wing. So it's not really a case of just putting butt weld clamps in. And I'm not sure really cut and button would do, so just really teasing it and getting it up and getting it flush along that edge first is well, that's the way I'm going. Just have a little look on the inside. There's the inside of it. So this is sort of let into here. carrying that flange on. We'll spot weld that in those places. Here's how it was spot welded before, and that's going to be a little bit of a butt weld there, just up around here. Not a butt weld, a lap joint. So I'm just going to cut that tack out there so I can continue getting the tight gap or tightness of the panel fit. That now is all pinned in. I just started welding up there. As always, welding upside down is more challenging than welding not upside down. I just had a spark land on my nuts, so that got me cursing. Anyway, continue with that. So just chasing it around now. I should come down here and come down to there, and then I grind it and then check it, and just yeah, you can see what's going on. No need to talk about it too much. This side is looking good, so I'll update you again shortly. Well, I've had to stop because, well, I'll show you in a minute. That's going in there, and that's going in there. Well, I stopped because my gas is frozen up. Got all condensation on it. I've got the fan blowing on it, it's warming up there. I've got a few other bits and pieces to do this evening, so I'm going to call it a night at this. It's a bit of a busy day. Day job getting in the way and all that. That's all pretty much, apart from along here. So I just need to straighten that out a little bit and do the plug welds there. Before I plug weld that, I have to take care of the gap there. Showing up and up, the gap between the chassis railing and the wing. The self-tapper pushed it out. That looks okay in there. Hopefully I'll be able to say that's been welded in, you'd never notice. Right, now we're all welded in. I'm not saying we've finished welding because I'm going to grind it now, and then I think that appears as a hole or something suspect, I'll re-weld. So let's get these beads down. Let's see how she looks. Yeah, I've had a good old grind there. Slow going, but that's because it's stuck up under a wheel arch. A few pinholes, so I'm going to go into the engine bay now and weld those up. And then I'm going to spray matte black paint on it again and go over it another time with the grinder and the belt sander. Right, I've just gone through the area and spot welded up the little daylight holes and a few of the extra screw holes that are there. And I'm going to guide code it now and go through it with a belt sander. Right, that is after a little bit of, what do we call these things? Sanding whirly things. So a bit of that, which is the belt sander, a little bit of filing, just to get it flat. Where's the file? You know what all the file, there's a file. That's a can of Diet Coke, it's not beer o'clock yet. Oh, a mess. File, do, make it flat, and I've just gone over it with a DA. So I had to bend that up to get into there with the grinding tool. So I need to hammer that back down and put something on it to stop it rusting, and then we work on this bit. I think we did that. We did the chassis. We've done that. I repaired this lip through here, and now I've got this panel to go in. Right, so with that sort of sanded and the flange there hammered back down, we have our battery tray or bulkhead repair panel that I made. I've just trimmed up, it's a bit dark, isn't it? Just trimmed up that edge there. I've just marked up this edge here, so I'm going to just get the cutting disc, cut that in so that sits down there. And the back end here, it's all clean metal. I'm going to lap joint it, make it nice and strong. You can just weld around there safely without blowing holes and having to grind too much, because I can just grind it flat. So just weld all that in there, and then there'll be through here plug welds. So plug welds along here and plug welds along there. So that's been sitting around a little bit. It's got grinding dust on it that's gone rusty. We'll clean all that off, clean an area around there to paint. So clean it off, paint so we can weld it, and then I can go in. Just need to trim this edge down here, because once it's in there I won't be able to trim that, so I need to trim it about here. When it's in, then I can match up that line with a 90 degree or something. It's always nicer to trim that line finally and get it to match nicely. So just trim this flange up there so that I can get that gap there how I want it. I'll trim that across the top there so that's level. What I've got to do still is to cut that there, drill some holes, plug weld it in. That now is screwed in. I've used self-tappers rather than clecos because I want it pulled down onto the flange that's underneath it. Could probably put a couple more in along there as well. That'll butt into there, and that's a lap along there. I'll take it off again now and prep the flange and prep the lap area under here with some zinc primer. And see that guy through there? The guy say hello. Hello. He's prepping the wheel arches. So I'll take this back off again, do the zinc primer, and what I'm going to do as well is, because I can't get in here anymore, can't get up in there, I'm going to put seam sealer in, put some primer on there. I'm going to use 1K epoxy primer. It's the best thing I can do without mixing up 2K. So 1K epoxy primer in there and seam sealer, and then I'll put that back on and weld it in place. Just been cleaning up the rest of the inner wing while I was waiting for the primer to dry. And since the primer dried, the 1K primer, this stuff, just to go under the seam sealer. That's seam sealed now in there, because up in there it's an absolute nightmare to get your finger or anything manipulate, something you can manipulate, you know what I mean. So seam sealer on. I can redo down here if I need to, but that can be done after epoxy priming. We're ready for the next step, which is to weld in this panel here, which I'm actually going to do tomorrow morning now, because it's no point doing it now. I'm tired. It's beer o'clock. Right, so just before I have that beer, I've just zinc primed where I'm going to have to lap lap over that flange there, and a little bit of an overlap here on that flange, and I've done zinc on the corresponding perimeter of the inside of that piece, and then that grey epoxy 1K in the middle. Outside is all prepped and ready to go. All the holes are drilled, and that actually just is begging just to drop in there. There we go. Just for the evening, I can go in there. I'll screw it down tomorrow and weld her in. You can see what I mean by now. This trap in here. There was no way I was going to get seam sealer in with this lid on. Okay, so that's welded in. Just did a time lapse from over there and from over here, and hopefully there's some footage there that allows you to see something. But now I'm going to grind that up, which I'm not going to record. I'm going to grind that up, and then I'm going to trim that line there to get that straight and neat. Match it up to there. I already trimmed in there, so we'll just scribe a line on there, tin snippet to it. So yeah, grinding. There'll be some welding to do after the grinding. These plug welds didn't go very well. Kept sort of blowing. Well, there were some additional holes that were drilled wrong, but yeah, I kept blowing them bigger. So we'll grind them off, and then any little bit like that we'll re-weld and re-grind. These are obviously my tin snips, because I'm just about to cut that line there. So ground it all out. Ground it all around, and then the last thing to do, well, not the last thing, never ending list of stuff to do, but now just tin snip that line off. I think I'll tin snip it. I could use a disc on a grinder. Yeah, there you go. Enough said.